Good morning, everybody. What's going on? It looks like it's all over. The bear market's beginning. Wow. I mean, I imagine that's how some people might feel about all of this. It's been a fine old pullback, let's face it, from the last 24 hours or so. From that peak to this peak, it's been close to 6%. On the Patreon, we were talking about pullbacks of about 10%, maybe 12% for Bitcoin. So you can imagine 15% to 20% for certain altcoins, which might be getting to where we're going, maybe. But again, you can't just say random numbers and expect them to hold true. Let's have a think about what the pullback size would be from this wick down to the 10 exponential. That would be 6.5. Down to the 21, it would be 9, and the 20 moving average just close to 10. And if we managed to come all the way down to the 50 exponential, that would be 12.5. So that's your daily measurements from areas of support. Now the weekly, obviously, it's a little bit more than that, but we're not suggesting that this is the case. As expected, I know that sort of, some people don't generally like that, but I kind of did expect it. So I'll use a different phrase. As I imagined. I suppose imagined is not right either, because it's based around statistical analysis, likelihood of rejection, anticipated. Predicted seems a bit too bold. As anticipated, we rejected from the Bollinger Band itself, and so if we were to come down to the 10 exponential from here, we're talking 12%, and then below that, it's 101.5, so 17. And maybe even 20 for Bitcoin. Let's not go there right now. Let's not go there. The fact is, we're getting rejected from an area that we thought would be the most appropriate area to be rejected from, and we kind of knew that. All right, that's just Bitcoin for you. So Bitcoin does look like it wants to go down across those time frames, and the 4-hourly has lost the center of the range. So if anything, we're going to be moving into the Golden Cross retest, which is about 115, so $115,000. We don't have any bullish divergence on this, so you wouldn't really be thinking that this is like designed, guaranteed for a bounce. You wouldn't be like, yeah, let's get ready for a bounce now on the way down. I mean, it could easily bounce on the way down, and this could be the appropriate place for it. But normally you'd expect some kind of div. We don't have any div. So thinking about that, let's think about the altcoin scenario. This has got div. So we're talking. You want div? We've got div, and it's on Ethereum. So Ethereum will give you some div. So maybe that's good enough for altcoins to move through association. We're still thinking alt season is the most likely scenario at this stage, which means a buy the old dip, doesn't it? Really. Ascendex on the weekly over here at 84. So if we do move up, 3,600 seems the most appropriate place for it to go before rejection. And a big dip on this one, 2,500, Golden Cross retest, seems like the most appropriate place for that to go. We'll just look at the dominance chart now, and then we'll leave it there. Dominance chart is still dripping. Still feel like taking positions on altcoins is the most appropriate thing to do. I've even got a position on Pundix actually at the moment, because I've started trading on BloFin, and they have the futures version of Pundix, which for me, is quite attractive, because although Pundix is not that great, it has the capacity to explode massively. And I woke up this morning. If only I'd woken up a little earlier, I'd have woken up with a ridiculous amount of profit just off one small futures trade. But we'll have a look at that to close the show. And again, Patreon live streams tomorrow, so we'll look at whatever you guys want on Wednesday night. So look, the dominance chart is still bleeding out now. One drive hidden bull div on the daily. On the 4-hourly, we're below all moving averages, get rejected on the 50 exponential. So all part of that death cross retest, bang down, and now we're bleeding out. We're looking for a new low to get formed. The big one is going to be a breakdown on the weekly, and that for me has to take place below 63.5. Then we go straight down to 61, straight down to 58, straight down to 55. Massive alt session. So it's all working exactly as expected. The dip is here. Whether or not you want to buy the dip or try to long the dips or whatever you want to do with these dips. The dip was anticipated, and now we're starting to see the dip. But how big and how deep will the dip go? Just don't know. And now let's have a look at this, just for me and some of my my fans and my haters. Pundix. What the heck were you doing last night, Pundix? It's up 7% already this morning, but look at the state. So this is a long that I took last night, around about the 32 cent zone. Imagine 26% in just, well, it was within hours. Now obviously I didn't take profit on that. I was fast asleep. But you know, would I have if I'd have woken up on that? I mean, absolutely. The range that we're sitting within for Pundix basically is 30 to 40. 30 to 40 cent really. So it's hit the bottom of the range, straight up to the top of the range, and rejected from that as well. So who knows? Who knows what's going on? I've only got a 6x leverage position on it, but it is with a giant chunk of change. So my hope is on this one, and again, this isn't a video about Pundix, but we do talk about it regularly because it's something that I've spoken about for this cycle. And I have a theory, it's almost like a prophecy of its own way, that certain token swaps, or token swaps in general, can behave similar to their previous charts. If anyone remembers what this chart used to be, I think it was MPSX or something like that. It was a massive underperformer. It started with this, went down like this, basically went sideways with these jagged moves up, you know, but basically sideways. And then one day it broke out and went up about 20x in a couple of weeks or something like that, maybe even more. I can't remember exactly, but it looked like this, felt like this, behaved like this. It basically was this, and then basically one day it just went whoosh. Now this happens to the coins like this. I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen here. I'm not saying that at all. I'm willing to bet that there's a good chance that it does happen, but based on its own merit, there's no reason why it should. But if this can ever get above and remain above, like for Pundix, it'd have to be above $1. If it can remain above $1 one day, build a base above $1, that's when it really does basically explode. And yeah, we're sitting in the 30s, but yeah, once it's above $1, you could easily see this one just go absolute massive stonking move up. You know, reaching actually previous levels. We're talking like between 3, 5, 7, potentially even new all-time highs. But right now, obviously, it's just this pump and dump sort of thing with this rounded bottom. It looks just like all the other altcoins, really. But you know, I've got a reasonable position on it, and again, from a spot perspective. And now I'm lucky because I get to trade futures on it. But I'm lucky because I've got good risk management. Don't make yourself unlucky by trying to do futures on something like Pundix, because there's not really much rhyme or reason to it. It's a chart that I keep in the corner of my eye and have done for, well, a couple of years now, so I'm familiar with it and the way that it behaves. So that gives me a bit of an edge trying to trade it, but it's an unpredictable cheese sandwich, I'm afraid. It's just one of those things that you just don't know which way it's going to go and how volatile it will be. So just, obviously I'm not suggesting you go off and long it or anything like that, but these videos are pretty much me just speaking my mind in the morning anyway, so I'm basically talking to myself. Right, I'll leave it with you there. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Subscribe, click the links, join the Patreon, and take it easy.